everyone, and welcome back to episode 40 of my F1 2016 Sauber career mode, guys. Sorry, that it's been so long since the last episode of this series. Obviously, I've just got back off my holiday, and it's the first chance I've been able to record this Sauber career mode. There's a lot of other videos that have come out over the last few days. But yeah, so here we are then at the British Grand Prix, my home Grand Prix, guys. Obviously hoping for a good result here today after we've had a couple of, low, just in the point scoring positions though, which is kind of what we aim for in this series. But moving on straight away then into my qualifying sim, and this did not go too well. I won't lie. For some reason, just in every setup I ran in this Sauber, I seem to be able to do really well in the first couple of sectors, and then I'd lose all the time in the final sector, and I was pretty much just going as quickly as I possibly could, so not too sure what that was all about then in the end there, which is a bit of a shame. But let's move on then into qualifying. And moving into Q1, we may actually got to go on a set of the medium tyres here. I was considering doing it just due to the sheer nature of trying to get to Q2, with as many sets of soft tyres as we could. Because, I like to try and think that I may be able to push for Q3. But, at this track so far, based on the qualifying sim, I wasn't feeling so confident. My confidence definitely had been knocked quite massively there from that quali simulation laps, just because I could get nowhere near the pace I wanted. But on into qualifying then, as you can see, we go P4 there, which amounted to P12 by the end of the session there, guys, which actually, that was better than I expected it to be. Lewis Hamilton took the provisional pole in Q1, obviously with the Mercedes front row lockout with Daniel Ricciardo, Kimi Raikkonen, Sergio Perez, rounding out the top 5, but drivers didn't make it into Q2. My teammate actually did there, which was very, very impressive to see, but unfortunately Jolyon Palmer didn't make it in, nor did Romain Grosjean there, which was quite a surprise, in that Haas. He kind of always, it's just one of those drivers that you always think would just about scrape into the next session, but he just didn't manage to do so today. Unfortunately, didn't get the lap in. But now on Q2 then, guys, coming up towards the line, we run a little bit wide coming out the final corner there, but we go back over to P4 once again there, and by the end of the session, we'd actually managed to scrape into Q3 there, guys, which is very, very happy with that. I was incredibly happy with that. At my home Grand Prix, we really want to get some good results, get some good points on the board for my team here. As you can see, Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg both gambled on the mediums and made it through still quite comfortably there. Really just proving how dominant Mercedes are around this circuit here today. But Sergio Perez just missed out on Q3, as obviously my teammate didn't make it into Q3 as well. They're a bit of a shame for him, as well as Jenson Button, Fernando Alonso, and both Toro Rossos there. So, we're now down into Q3 then, guys, and onto my one and only lap of the session. I really wanted to just save the tyres a bit, in case the Grand Prix, in case we had some safety cars. Silverstone often gives up safety cars, so, kind of hoping that would happen today. But coming up towards the line, then run absolutely wide through the final corner there, guys. And we move up into P6 of the session there, but I wasn't feeling too confident with that lap. And by the end of the session there, guys, you can see we finished down in P10 behind Nico Hülkenberg in 9th, Felipe Massa 8th, both Finns of Raikkonen and Bottas in 7th and 6th, Vettel 5th, then we got both Red Bulls of Ricciardo and Verstappen, and then the Mercedes lock out the front row there, guys, ready for the British Grand Prix. Just having a look quickly at the R&D, we're going to have just over 400 points there, 427 in the end there. So, we're still looking good, we're still hopefully going to be able to put an upgrade on the car by the end of this Grand Prix here, guys. But, we managed to smash our expected position there of 16th there, which, always really helpful with the R&D. The team still think we're a lot worse than we actually are. It's almost like being back on my F1 2010 career mode, where the team want me to get P19 in qualifying, and actually managed to, get it in sort of like P11 and whatnot. But let's just have a look then, guys, at my career rivalry against Felipe Massa here. You see, we're just still edging ahead of him, as we managed to get a few little points, but it's now incredibly, incredibly close. But here we are then, guys, ready for the British Grand Prix.
Right back where it all began. The very first World Championship Grand Prix was held here at Silverstone in 1950, with Giuseppe Farina taking the top step of an all-Alfa Romeo podium. He earned 9 championship points that day on his way to the inaugural title. His winning total at the season's end, just 30 points. My, how times have changed. So let's see who can reach the top step of the modern podium today. Straddling the border of Northamptonshire and Buckinghamshire, the 18 corners of the Silverstone circuit form the 3.6-mile beating heart of Formula One. It's been reinvented over the years, with Turn 1 now the fast right-hander of Abbey, along with 2 DRS zones on the Wellington and Hanger Straights respectively. But the magic of racing is as strong here as it's ever been. With me today is a man who's no stranger to the thrills of Silverstone. He's a past winner here in sports cars, of course. It's our good friend Anthony Davidson. You seem particularly excited for this one, Ant. Is there something you want to tell me?
Oh, just looking forward to it, Crofty. It's always a very special atmosphere, and also I started karting in the late 1980s, and I was here for that epic race in 1986 with Nancy and Lique fighting each other right here at my home Grand Prix. So coming back to Silverstone always means a lot, and looking at the crowd today, it's clear that none of that spirit has been lost. And also, we just have such a fantastic field this year. Some very close competition and conditions that should make for some great racing. I can't wait.
Okay, I know it's your home Grand Prix, but treat it like any other race. Don't take unnecessary risks.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Nico Rosberg completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Ricciardo, Sebastian Vettel and Bottas, Raikkonen, Massa, Hülkenberg and a Sauber, Perez, Button, Fernando Alonso and Ericsson, Sainz, Kvyat, Romain Grosjean and Esteban Gutierrez, Palmer and Haryanto, Pascal Wehrlein and Kevin Magnussen rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So here we are then, guys, at the grid, ready for my home Grand Prix, the British Grand Prix here today. Obviously, like pretty much every race so far this season, it will be a one-stop Grand Prix. I'm going to try and pretty much run the fuel on the absolute minimum that will safely make us to the end of the race. Looking at the pit strategy, a very, very early stop onto a set of the medium tyres to go to the end of the race. I may end up having to sacrifice onto a set of the hard tyres, just so you know we don't have so much of a deficit at the end of the Grand Prix. But P10 on the grid, ready for the British Grand Prix. It's been a very, very strong couple of rounds for us, hoping we can score some points here today. But here we are then on the grid, 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and away we go then for the British Grand Prix. Actually get off to a pretty poor start there in the end there. Nico Hülkenberg, Felipe Massa both have very, very good reactions, but they're just going to have a look, keep it in the middle of the track, hoping nobody goes for the overtakes on us, and no they do not. We've already got yellow flags out there, no idea what that's all about. It's a couple of drivers have got out of shape. But we're now having a look up the inside of Nico Hülkenberg here. Are we going to be able to make that position stick? Yes we do, but he might be able to come back at us. No he doesn't. And we managed to move around the outside of Nico Hülkenberg up into P9s. We can see Sebastian Vettel already out of shape just ahead of us, and that's slowed down Felipe Massa and the whole little group here. Kimi Raikkonen is going to give us a little bit of slipstream as he and Vettel are going side by side. We're going to have a look up the inside of both of them there, but think better of it. It's Felipe Massa and myself making a little bit of contact there, but Raikkonen and Vettel still going side by side. We're going to have a look, trying to get the cut back on them here, but Felipe Massa just sticks his nose in. We can't get the turn in there, but the Ferraris both getting very, very squirmy next to each other there, hoping, you know, with this massive amount of slipstream being able to get able, managing to look up the inside of Sebastian Vettel into the old turn 1 here. But are we going to be able to move up the inside? Sebastian backs out of it right at the very end there, just as late as he possibly could, and now we move up into P7 now of the Grand Prix, now up behind Valtteri Bottas now at the end of lap 2. Kimi Raikkonen so far in this race, guys, has been an absolute rocket, but now Sebastian Vettel and Sergio Perez right behind me are looking to try and make an overtake. Luckily for me, both of them don't manage to do it there, but now we're just right behind Valtteri Bottas. They actually managed to get a very, very good run out of that corner, and Bottas has actually dived into the pit lane there very, very early on in this Grand Prix, but that's going to promote me up into P6. Wondering what strategy Bottas is actually going for there, guys. Obviously, it's a very, very interesting strategy call there by himself. But now moving on to lap 3 here, guys, you can see we've still got the pressure of Sebastian Vettel and Sergio Perez right behind me. Hoping, you know, we can try and defend from these guys, but obviously they're in so much quicker cars. And Vettel already going past me there, guys, down in towards turn 5. And are we going to be able to hold it around the outside? Maybe we get the undercut. No, we don't. Sebastian Vettel absolutely parks on the apex there, guys. And that's going to give us front wing damage, and that was really not very good. I was struggling for front end grip anyway in this Grand Prix, and that is definitely not going to help our cause. The Sergio Perez tried to have a look up my inside there as well. But now moving on towards the end of lap 3, obviously we've had to come into the pits here, you know, just from this front wing damage. I really wanted to try and come in as late as we possibly could onto a fresh set of tyres, but hopefully, you know, it shouldn't cost us too much time. It wasn't like it was a lap 1 or anything. Maybe we can still stretch these tyres to the end. We've actually opted to go on a set of the hard tyres. You know, really don't want to risk all that tyre. We're right near the end, obviously, you know, how badly the tyre deficit is when it comes to lap time at the very end of the race. But Valtteri Bottas has now jumped me. It's now Sauber are back where we were at the beginning of the season, in last and second to last. My teammate Marcus Ericsson has actually had a torrid day out so far. He's about half a lap behind me still, which isn't very good. But here we are then, coming out the pits at the end of lap 4. And now we've actually lost a huge amount of time to the AI here, guys. I don't work this out at the moment of when I was recording this, but unfortunately we'd managed to lose out absolutely massively there. Not too sure what happened with it. I don't know whether we got a bit of a pit lane speed limiter glitch or something, but we just lost so much time, it just didn't seem to add up here. But as you can see, now moving on to lap 5, we've a couple of drivers might actually be coming out the pit lane here. Hoping, we can jump them as they come out the pits. So try and get sort of, a little bit of an indication of whereabouts we are. And we've jumped Kevin Magnussen, but we're behind Pascal Wehrlein here, guys. And this is just how badly this has really gone for myself here. And now moving on to lap 6, as you can see how much time we had actually lost due to those pit stops. Now on to lap 7 here. Are we going to be able to jump a few more cars? Yes, we do. Moving to P16 and maybe a couple more positions there. As we've got a couple of drivers exiting the pit lane there. Esteban Gutierrez there. We're going to throw it up his inside in towards turn 3 here. And yes, we do. Up into P15 we go. As now we've got Jolyon and Palmer and Wehrlein just ahead of me, with Danny Kvyat just ahead of them. We're pretty much back with the backmarkers that, we expect to be with at the start of the season, guys. But I was hoping, maybe points were on the cards here. But at this stage of the Grand Prix, it was not looking so likely. There are still quite a few cars that I can see where the points are. As we can see, Kevin Magnussen, Pascal Wehrlein going at the inside of Danny Kvyat there, guys. And now they're going side by side as we just jump Palmer there, more concentrating on the guys ahead rather than the overtake I made there. But Kvyat and Wehrlein now going side by side, hoping they cost each other a lot of time with Slipstream as well, guys. We're going to have a look up the inside of both of them. 3 wide into turn 1. How is this going to end? Not very well for Danny Kvyat there, guys. We can see in the rearview mirror, he has absolutely gone off the track massively there as he just got pinched out in the middle there. Not very good for him as we now have a look up the inside of Wehrlein there. But he defends the position. We go round the outside into the next corner, and that leads to the inside of the next corner there, guys. And we've now moved up into P12, but Wehrlein's still there with the straight line speed as well, trying to hold it side by side. Now Jolyon Palmer's trying to come at us. We got Felipe Massa as well trying to get past us here, guys. And Pascal Wehrlein is giving me a little bit of a bump there, as Felipe Massa now moves up into P13. But I honestly thought, guys, that was going to lead to an absolutely humongous crash there, guys. But somehow we managed to come away from that unscathed. But now moving on to the end of lap 8 here, as you can see, one of the cars ahead of me's got a puncture here, guys. And that has meant all these guys have been held up behind Fernando Alonso. So we're going to be able to move up into P8 there. Get a couple of illegal overtakes, unfortunately. But obviously we just basically took our chances there, as now we have to give back the places to Rio Haryanto and Jenson Button. But we are now up into P10 here, guys, and points are now actually on the cards here. I really didn't think this was going to happen, but with Fernando Alonso, I don't know exactly whether he actually had a puncture or front wing damage there, guys. But now moving on to lap 12, and we are in the battle for points here. Obviously we're already in P10, so that's 1 point available to us, but obviously we want to double that, make it up to 2, and hopefully Haryanto can still score points here. I really want to see the Manners do well in this career mode as well. I don't know why I didn't really pick them, but still. But coming now into the long back straight here, are we going to be able to make a move on Haryanto? Just got to focus on my exit out of those 2 corners, and with the slipstream, with the DRS, with the straight line speed setup, are we going to be able to look up the inside of Haryanto? We got Felipe Massa having a look at me as well. But we're going to try and go up the inside of Haryanto there, make contact with his rear wheel. And unfortunately, guys, we're not going to be able to make the move. And Felipe Massa is now looking very, very feisty as well. He's trying to make a move on me, but still we managed to hold it up the inside into the 3rd last corner here. Really want to try and get past Haryanto coming into this final lap of the Grand Prix. And now moving on to lap 13 here, guys. You see Kimi Räikkönen is the race runner. He had an absolutely incredible race. His race pace was just so strong, as we saw in that early stages there, guys. But can we get past Rio Haryanto? Trying to maximise my exit through this corner here. Haryanto still very far out the road, but as we saw last lap, how much the slipstream and DRS can have an effect here. But are we going to be able to get close to Haryanto? Massa's having a look at me as well, but no, we do not get past Haryanto there. He's still just a little bit up the road, so maybe a rash dive bomb can occur into this final corner. Are we going to look? We're going to have a look round the outside, switch back to the inside there, guys, and we move up into P9 of the Grand Prix there against Rio Haryanto there, guys. A very, very exciting move right at the very end there. Up into P9, 2 points taken away for Sauber there. We made up positions from our starting place, and I was very, very happy with how that race went in the end, after obviously we saw those issues at the start of the Grand Prix. There we are then, guys. So that is the end of the British Grand Prix here. Kimi Räikkönen took the race win there after a very, very strong performance from himself. And Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen also got on the podium. So we've seen a race now. I think that's 2 races in a row even that we haven't seen a Mercedes on the podium here, guys. So an absolute incredible result. Obviously for Ferrari and Red Bull, they really need to try and close in the gap on the Mercedes, especially Lewis Hamilton. He's got such a dominant lead at the moment, guys. Will anyone be able to stop him in the second half of the season? But Kimi Räikkönen, very happy with his race there. Max Verstappen in second, Daniel Ricciardo in P3. All very happy to take home the podium positions at the British Grand Prix. Obviously a very, very important race. There's so many drivers on the grid there. But just having a look further down the standings, Sebastian Vettel took home P4. There was Lewis Hamilton in P5, Sergio Perez 6th, Jenson Button 7th, Nico Hulkenberg 8th, myself in 9th, Ray Haryanto in 10th. So Nico Rosberg once again does not score points in another Grand Prix this year. Not too sure how to win there, guys, in that race. But that just meant that Lewis Hamilton once again is able to pull out another margin over his teammate there. Obviously, in Austria last time out, we saw Hamilton be able to pull out about 12 points, I think it was, when Nico Rosberg did not actually manage to make it to the end of the Grand Prix. So 3 races in, I think it's 3 and 4 races now, Rosberg has not managed to score points there. But there we are then, guys. Felipe Massa just missed out on the points as well, with Esteban Gutierrez in 12th. Nico Rosberg, there he is, guys, in P13, ahead of Bottas, Magnussen, Verline, Palmer, Sainz, Kvyat, Alonso, Grosjean, and my teammate, unfortunately, Marcus Ericsson, down there in last place. Really just wasn't a good day out for him. I think he was what caused the yellow flags at turn 1. I think he'd been taken out or something, which had given him a lot of front wing damage. Unfortunately for him, obviously, he just wasn't able to capitalise there in the end. But as you can see, now looking at the driver's standings, Lewis Hamilton, 67-point lead over his teammate Nico Rosberg. It's looking like a very, very dominant showing from him so far. What we saw in 2015 as well. With the Ferraris in 3rd and 4th, the Red Bulls in 5th and 6th. Then we've got the McLaren of Jenson Button now, obviously after his race win at Spain, still looking very, very strong in 7th. Almost the best of the rest, if you will. Valtteri Bottas in 8th. Nico Hulkenberg 9th. Fernando Alonso 10th. Felipe Massa 11th. Romain Grosjean 12th, and then we've got Sergio Perez, both of those guys just 1 point ahead of me there, with my teammate Marcus Ericsson just 1 place behind me, but with half my points there, guys. As you can see, just looking down the bottom of the grid, Carlos Sainz still in last place there, guys. It's just not looking like his season so far. Toro Rosso may try and clear him out of the team anytime soon for all we know, but obviously we'll have to wait and see about that. But here we are then, currently standing in 7th overall in the Constructors, ahead of Haas, Toro Rosso, Mana, and Renault Formula 1 team there, guys. Renault now the only team not to have scored points so far in this career mode, guys. But now moving on then, we've actually got big news, guys. We actually got a contract offer from both Force India, Toro Rosso, and Haas. Now, I didn't really want to go with Haas because I've already used them on this game. I also didn't want to go with Force India because obviously, as you all know, I did a career mode with them. But that means, guys, we might actually get the position to replace Carlos Sainz at Toro Rosso. Obviously, he has scored no points this year. He is absolutely dead last in the standings overall. And we are actually going to go forward and accept that contract to move to Toro Rosso, ready next time out, guys, for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Very, very sad to leave Sauber, but, you know, obviously we really want to be making leaps forward in this career mode, hoping, you know, we can get up into a good, solid team by the end. Maybe, you know, take home the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship at some point. Although I did it in Force India, I really want to have video proof, you know, that I have actually done that. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. If you are new around here, don't forget to like, subscribe for more of my F1 2016 career mode. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
So promise that you'll catch me.